All right, so we have a problem, folks, and I'm pretty sure most of you are aware of this problem. And that problem is black women and their fucking attitudes. Oh my God. God in heaven, deliver me from a black woman with a bad attitude. And I don't say this because I'm a black woman basher, even though it's not above me to bash a black woman when they deserve it. I bash white women too. I made a video about big fat white women a couple of days ago. You should definitely check it out. But we've just normalized black women and bad attitudes. And you see the difference when you go somewhere like Popeyes versus Chick-fil-A. You go to Chick-fil-A, you got the nice, sweet, innocent white girl. Hello, welcome to Chick-fil-A. What would you like to order? And you tell her what you want to order. Would you like napkins with that? Would you get you some lemonade? Just very nice, very sweet tone. You juxtapose that to Popeyes. You go to Popeyes, you got a big fat black woman. Welcome to Popeyes, what you want? Can I get a 3-piece? What you want all that for? You gonna eat all that damn chicken by yourself? Damn. It's gonna be 20 minutes on the chicken. Just rude, bad, just a horrible disposition. And we all know this is true about black women. We just accept it as normal. And you know, if I didn't love black women, I wouldn't be talking about this. Okay, a lot of black men feel the exact same way I feel. A lot of black men recognize, these same bad and poor attitudes. And what do? Well, they'll go off and they'll date some Mexican. Well, I don't eat burritos. And I don't fuck a bitch for green cards. Okay, I'm not going to fuck a bitch just so she can get a green card. So, Mexicans, no. Then you also have the spicy Latina thing. No, I don't want a spicy Latina. And I don't date white women. Because the fact of the matter is the only white woman that's going to be available to a black man like me are the big fat ones. And I'm just not attracted to white women. So that leaves me with black women. And, being a black man that exclusively dates black women, it can be kind of hard sometimes. It can be kind of hard sometimes because you deal with women like the one that you're looking at on the screen. The woman that you're looking at on the screen is a woman by the name of Crescenda, because of course, Crescenda Williams. Miss Crescenda Williams was a 911 operator in the great state of Texas. And in Texas, people will call 911 and she'd be the Popeyes equivalent of a 911 operator. She'd be the Popeyes cashier equivalent. People will call 911 and instead of collecting their address, getting information as to the nature of the emergency, Miss Crescenda here would hang up in their face. Now, if somebody told you this story was happening, and if someone said, there's a 911 operator with a bad attitude and she's hanging up in people's faces, guess her race. And you had to play that game. You had to put $1 million on it. What would you bet? What would you bet? We all know what we would bet. We'd all say, that was probably some overweight black woman, some overweight black lady, being rude to people calling 911. We're going to look at this story, then I'm going to come back with some final commentary. Here it is. A former 911 operator who hung up on thousands of calls is sentenced. A former 911 operator in Texas who repeatedly hung up on people calling for emergency services has been sentenced to 10 days in jail and 18 months of probation. I just want to say something about that. Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why black women continue to have bad attitudes, because they typically face no consequences. Men continue to deal with them, me included. I'm guilty of that. I continue to deal with black women that have bad attitudes. I love black women. It's just genetically in me because I'm a black man. It's genetically wired in me to be attracted to black women. I just hate the attitudes. But even when in the judicial system, in the courts, I see these videos of black women just acting a fool, doing the worst of things, going into Kroger's, knocking stuff off the shelves, going into Walmart, stealing stuff, hollering at their kids, stealing baby formula and shit. And then you look at, what happened when, she inevitably had to go to court. 10 days in jail. 10 days in jail. Now, do you think someone who receives that light of a sentence, are they going to actually, do you think Crescenda here learned her lesson after 10 days in jail? And a lot of times they don't even have to serve 10 days in jail. They'll have to serve 5 or 6 and say, oh, well, she got out for good behavior. Absolutely sickening. But let's take a look at some more. Crescenda Williams, 44, was found guilty of interference with emergency telephone calls, BBC reports. She is said to have hung up on thousands of emergency calls in Houston for more than a year, according to court documents. Citizens rely on 911 operators to dispatch help in their time of need, Assistant District Attorney Lauren Reeder said in a statement. When a public servant betrays the community's trust and breaks the law, we have a responsibility to hold them criminally accountable. Williams told investigators she often hung up because she didn't want to talk to anyone at those times. Get a load of that shit. Can you imagine being a 911 operator, hanging up on people in, the worst times of their lives? You only call 911 at the absolute worst time in your life, or when the worst things are happening. No one's ever calling 911 because they're having a great day. You're calling 911 because you're having a bad day. Can you imagine being and hanging up on people in those times? And you're not hanging up on them because there's a fire going on in the building. You're not hanging up on them because there's a mass shooter outside and you need a 911 operator yourself. You're hanging up because you fucking feel like it. Because you fucking feel like it. And then have the audacity to tell people that. If I was her, I would have made up some shit. I would have said, man, I was sick. I have cancer. I have stage 4 cancer. I'm on my way out of here, folks. I am diabetic like a motherfucker. And my sugar and she's fat as fuck, so that would actually be believable. I'm diabetic, my sugar's high. I don't know what the fuck going on when my sugar get high. I get confused. I tried to answer and I accidentally hung up those thousands of times. To me, that would have been a more viable response to, that would be a more viable response than, I felt like it. I didn't want to talk to nobody. Yeah, I took this job. The job paid good. What the hell was I supposed to do? I had to go out here and make the bag. But I didn't feel like talking. That's the shit she says. Records show that calls she terminated included reports of robberies, speeding vehicles, and murders. Imagine that 911 call. 911, what you want? Yeah, ma'am, there's a guy over here shooting. He's killing people. There are literal murders happening. Well, what you want me to do? Why you calling us? What you want me to do about it? Ma'am, please send police, send ambulance. We are in distress, ma'am. I'm tired of these motherfuckers always calling. Click. I'm tired of these motherfuckers always calling. What the hell they want me to do? They over there shooting stuff. Do I look like the police? And that's the kind of shit they do. That's literally the kind of shit they do. Her attorney told ABC 13 that his clients routinely hit not ready on her computer as calls came in to the Houston Emergency Center. He says that Williams didn't realize that she was disconnecting the calls and assumed it went to another operator who was ready to take that call. So, I mean, and clearly this is a lie based on, well, let me turn my do not disturb on. There we go. Clearly this is a lie based on what she said. She didn't say, hey, well, I thought I was redirecting the call. I didn't realize I was hanging up on her. No, she said, I hung up. I knew what I was doing. She knew exactly what she was doing. She did it because she fucking felt like it. She did it because she fucking felt like it. And, this is the kind of bad attitude that, gives black folks a bad reputation. It absolutely does. I think there should be a culture change. I think we should start holding black women accountable for the bad attitudes instead of laughing at it. Instead of saying, "Oh, that girl crazy. She just gonna be her." No, start saying, "Look, bitch, fix your attitude." That's what I do with mine. That's what I do with the ex girlfriends of the black women that had bad attitudes. I'd tell them, I'd say, "Look here, Keishasha, your attitude is just off the chain. These are going to be your cousins." Honestly, it never worked. But I guess we got to start with the kids. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you have a solution for it. Maybe we start with the kids. Yeah, we got to start when they're young. Start whooping their asses when they're young. I think whoopings, you can whoop it out of them. You get a little 5-year-old black girl with a bad attitude. And you say, "Hey, pick up those toys." "I ain't picking up no toys." And just start whooping her ass. Yeah, give her ass whooping. Maybe she'll stop there. I think that will work. I absolutely think that will work. Nonetheless, let me know what you think about this video in the comment section. And remember to like, subscribe, share. And as always, stay woke.